Welcome to episode 19 of the Tar Pack Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to get to the breaking news of Gene Chizik and Tim Cross being fired from Carolina's football coaching staff. And then we'll get into the last game for Carolina and UNC, both in basketball. So getting it started here, as you guys already know, Gene Chizik and Tim Cross have been fired from UNC after a very poor season from the defense as a whole, and in Tim Cross's case, the D-line specifically. I actually want to start with the D-line. The D-line is the maybe group on the entire team that has showed the least progression, even though there's multiple 5-stars and 4-stars on the defensive line. They seem to do nothing every single year. Kamen Rucker, who is a low 3-star, is by far the best player on the defensive line. Really the only one that you would say is above average, and Kamen Rucker is a great player. If he was on, say, Alabama's defensive line, he would be getting so much more attention. And he'd also have more pass rushers helping him out as well. But yeah, Kamen Rucker is very good, but outside of that, no one else just gets the job done, man. And that's a lot of that is on Tim Cross. That is why he is no longer with the program. Ted Monachino, the former Atlanta Falcons defensive line coach, is now the defensive line coach for Carolina. Gene Chizik is fired. We will see what his replacement is. I would expect it to happen pretty fast with the transfer portal stuff going in. If you're trying to bring in defensive players in the portal, a lot of those guys are going to obviously want to know who their defensive coordinator is going to be. So I expect that move to be made pretty soon. But it was tough for me. I've been a Tim Cross being fired train for a long time. Unfortunately, even though I know the players love him, they just weren't doing good enough. So that had to happen. As far as Gene Chizik, I thought it was up in the air. I thought it could go either way, whether you give him one more year or you let him go. And this was the move that Matt Brown decided upon. So we'll see what goes on from here. What are your thoughts on Carolina's defense and Gene Chizik being fired?
I don't really know. I mean, he's fired. Your defense has been bad for multiple years.
In a way, this is bad for State fans.
I mean, yeah.
So, let's get into the basketball games now on the Tar Pack Podcast. Are you going to say words?
Bro, why would you ask me that? I didn't want to say anything about Carolina. That's a good thing. Oh, did you hear the beginning where you said, and then we're going to go to the basketball games of North Carolina and UNC.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Well, that's not working. All right, let's get started here with NC State, who played Notre Dame on Wednesday night. What are your thoughts on this game for the Pack?
Thank you, DJ Burns, for doing things, but yeah, we could not hit a 3-pointer for anything. We were absolutely bricks. 19 for 66 from field goal, 3 for 17 from 3-point.
That's like type basketball you'd expect to see when you go to your local YMCA and like a street men's league.
Yeah, it was very bad.
Who was your player of the game for this one?
Obviously DJ Burns, game winner.
That was a very big-time shot from DJ Burns.
And, I mean, overall, 13 point. I mean, he was 6 for 15, which is not good, really. 4 rebounds, 2 assists. But, I mean, he still had the most points on the team, too.
He's still a really bad rebounder for a guy who plays center, but you don't really worry about that if he's going to hit clutch shots like that. Getting into the Carolina versus Pitt game, Carolina did win on Tuesday night 70-57. It was a gritty, tough win for this team. R.J. Davis offensively, along with Armando Bacot, had to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Seth Trimble also stepped up a lot, but not a great shooting night from us. Pitt did a great job at kind of disrupting all of our sets and stuff like that. But how about Armando Bacot finally getting back in the double-double train? He didn't play great, honestly, but it was an improvement from what we've seen in the last few games. Harrison Ingram had a terrible shooting night, 2 for 14, but had 15 rebounds, which is him showing his impact even though he couldn't get the ball to fall in the basket this specific night. RJ Davis, again, they swarmed him. They were double teaming him at times. They were not going to let RJ Davis beat him, and he still beat him in a lot of ways. So 15 points for him. That's a great game.
Yeah, both State and Carolina had horrible shooting performances both games. I mean, obviously State's was worse by just looking at the percentages, but I mean, both teams had horrible shooting games.
Yeah, my play of the game is still RJ Davis because he kept us in this one for a long period of time when no one else was really hitting shots. And how about the emergence of Seth Trimble is getting a lot better. All right, but thank you guys for tuning in to episode 19 of the Tar Pack Podcast. We will see you guys in the next one. Go Eagles.
Go Pat.